Ladies and gentlemen, heels and faces, casual wrestling fans, and all you smart marks. I'm Richie Moon.
And I'm Kayfabe AJ.
And I'm Kayfabe Focus.
And this is Kayfabe Avenue. Welcome back, gentlemen.
It's
We're back out here in the streets.
It's been a couple of weeks. Definitely been a couple of weeks, but it's been busy. Obviously, our city's been on fire. A lot of shit. A lot of Knickshausen.
Knicks. Champions after 53?
A lot going on in New York. We had, obviously, the Knicks winning the championship in the NBA. Congratulations to the Knicks. We had the Puerto Rican Day Parade. We got the FIFA World Cup happening right now. Just cities on fire. Been very busy. So,
the Empire State is back.
Yeah. All things looking up for New York right now. The energy is on 1,000. And ironically, Danhausen was a huge part of that. We've been supporting Danhausen for a long time through his run in AEW and his indies, and seeing him on this scale. What do you guys feel about Danhausen? Like how the world's taken to him now, considering the way he debuted, and it was kind of like a weird, like the audience didn't react the way we thought his debut would go. How do you feel about Danhausen's run right now?
Danhausen is on a generational run. I know we hear that term a lot, but seriously, I mean, he's transcending wrestling right now.
He's a first-year Hall of Famer.
Once he uncursed the Knicks really went on a run. He's been on ESPN. Like I said, he's transcending wrestling right now.
They went on a very nice and very evil 13-game winning streak through the playoffs. That's historic in itself.
Right. After he uncursed him. I think Danhausen is doing exactly what Danhausen is supposed to be doing. It's a shame. I don't want to say it's a knock on Tony, but it's just amazing what the machine with WWE has done with him compared to what he was doing at AEW. It's great. I would have never predicted this for Dan. I would have never thought, Danhausen would have been a major part of the Knicks winning an NBA championship. Like that wasn't on my bingo card for this year.
So before we did this episode, me and Focus were talking about Danhausen, and we went back into like the history, a little bit of history before his run, and I couldn't believe he was in AEW for 4 years. Like, granted, some of it was under injury,
yeah,
but a lot of it was under him being CM Punk's friend and just not being used at all. So you might not say it, but I'll say it. Major fumble. That is a major knock, because we even looked at one of the videos we looked at had the merch stats. In the year that Danhausen was not on television and was not on television at all, he was the 13th top seller of merch for AEW, and he was above names like Jon Moxley, like Will Ospreay, guys like that. Like, I'm not sure if it was Will, but it was big name guys for sure.
He didn't do that and not even
be used, and to come into WWE instantly be used, instantly be put in the right spots. Danhausen right now has the most reach across pop culture, not just WWE, out of anyone on the roster right now that's not Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. He has the most reach out of almost everybody. He's being used in spots strategically where this man's only wrestled twice, maybe 3 times.
Doesn't need to wrestle.
So he has like the best. I think he's in the best position you can be as a gimmick wrestler to still get your matches in here and there, but you're being used across all spectrums of media. Like I don't think he could have it any better.
No, that's like I said, he's on a generational run.
All right,
Shout out to
Especially
Dan.
Hall of Famer.
definitely. So shout out to Danhausen, shout out to the Knicks, and all of that went on. What do we have in wrestling? What do you guys want to talk about that's going on big in wrestling over the past month?
So
Yo,
what do you
man,
want to
this
talk
is
about?
not even it's not even a hot take. It's I would really love for WWE to not be so safe. I like the
Safe in what way?
product. I feel like sometimes they could shake it up a little bit with it's interesting. Cody just did a what do you talk about podcast with Diamond Dallas Page, and he was talking about the WWE creative process, and Cody said even when he doesn't agree with it, he says I can survive it. I say all that to say I really wish Cody's at that place where he can lose a championship, and he'll be okay. He can survive it. I really wish Gunther, they take more chances. You know what I'm saying? You elevate guys to pull the trigger a little bit more. Cody can survive it.
So you think, as far as taking more chances in regards to Cody Rhodes?
He represents like a piece of it. I wish that, and sometimes they do take chances. So Roku, you know what I'm saying? I just wish they just pull the trigger a little bit more,
That's
especially
kind
with
of
your
why
established shows.
I asked that question, because I feel like since WrestleMania they've actually taken the most chances. If you look at everyone that's been in the forefront of WWE in these past couple of weeks, since Mania, it's really been a lot of the new guys, the new stars, Oba, coming to the forefront after the Brock Lesnar match. Like you mentioned, Soul Rucker, Ricky Starks has had a big head start. Right now he's gonna go for the United States Championship at Night of Champions coming up. Javon Evans has been being pushed in a major way, which to me is really shocking considering he's a really small guy. Not the normal person like they would go for. So they've already been doing vignettes for um Mariah May, what's her name? Blake Monroe. Excuse me. So I said already about 6 people I mentioned, and we're not even getting into Fatal Attraction. Um, the 3 I forgot their names individually. I'm sorry, but them 3 ladies got called up.
I know what you're talking about. Yep.
Yeah, them 3 ladies got called up in a major wave going against the legends the veterans. Let's not say legends just yet, but the veterans: Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair, Rhea Ripley, future Hall of Famers coming in. They're saying that the leader of that group might get a women's championship match at SummerSlam. So they're taking the most chances I've seen WWE take in the past maybe 2 years, since this new era of Triple H, where everything's been all advertising money and high ticket sales. I think this is the biggest risk they've done in this past month and a half in the last 2 years compared to the last 2 years.
Yeah. That's one of the, I feel like sometimes, you just brought like the ticket sales and stuff like that. We've kind of been conditioned, unfortunately, with certain things. So, like, we were just talking about Night of Champions are going to be 6 matches. And it's just like, whoa. And it's just like,
Yeah.
it needs to be more. I'm glad there's more wrestling. Like, it's heading in the right direction. I'm glad there's more wrestling. I'm glad they're taking more chances. I don't want to feel so safe when I'm watching. Like I know what's going to happen. It's like, oh shit, they won. Oh, I didn't expect that. I would like to feel that more. So I
think they woke up a little bit. I think WrestleMania was kind of like a tap on the jaw for them. First night was definitely a tap on the jaw. Night 2 was a completely different story.
Phenomenal.
Right.
But that first night was definitely a tap on the jaw. Like, advertising's killed your show. Not giving enough time to the matches killed your show. The prices killed your show. And now we're at the SummerSlam kind of point of the year leading up to SummerSlam after this Night of Champions. And ticket sales for SummerSlam, I just showed you guys the other day, $75 to get you in the building. You couldn't get into WrestleMania for less than 300, 400, 500 before they started reducing prices heavily because people weren't buying. And I don't know if it's
Right.
the market that they're in, Minneapolis, Minnesota, that the ticket price is so low as compared to a
That could be it.
Saturday night's main event, which is like
Mhm.
for good seats. I heard it was like 300-400 to
And
get
it's
in
also
there.
going to be it's location because
It's
Minnesota,
Madison. Well, it's Madison Square Garden, so
Madison
that's
Square
expected.
Garden.
So I
That
think
goes
they
like
are
two
learning
times.
their lesson. Raw and SmackDown, I would say, has been um, more wrestling match
I,
heavy,
I have noticed that. I have
and
noticed that.
we also did the comparison. So Rich Rich in particular would complain like, "Yo, these fucking ads, Raw's becoming unwatchable," and it's like I'm on the other side because I do use VPNs or whatever, and I'm like, "What are
Mm.
you talking about? I don't even see commercials like that." So the American viewers are getting, you know, and they're seeing
Yeah,
all
you
these
gotta get a VP. You gotta
they're
get a
seeing
VP.
all these commercials in the middle of these matches, and when there are no matches going on, there's segments going on in these spots that Americans are viewing commercials. And it's crazy because those ads are even affecting those promos because Liv Morgan as champ has gotten cut off a few times.
A few times.
During
A lot
promo
of
segments.
a, a lot of the commercials and the ads have cut into the story and affects it because, like you said, segments get cut off, promos get cut off, parts that move the story forward get cut off, and then it's just like, oh, okay, I guess we're just here now, right?
Yeah,
Just because,
American
shout out
viewers
to
ain't getting
YouTube.
they're not getting a fair
Yeah.
shake. American viewers at all.
I'm glad that the WWE they upload those clips on YouTube. That's how I get to see them
Yeah,
after. Like, oh,
yeah.
like Jay,
This is
like
why we
Jay
need a
Uso cut a promo on Raw commercial on my end. You know what I'm saying? I go on YouTube. I'm like, yo, when did this happen in the show? I'm like, oh, must have been during a fucking ad break.
Yeah.
This is why
Well,
we need a VPN as a sponsor. So if you're a
well,
VPN, come reach out to us so we could sponsor. You could be one of our sponsors.
you can't say that in the beginning of this need for the VPN that Stephanie McMahon didn't warn you guys and give you guys the heads up ahead of time. And
Sure.
it's been a saving grace because the content is way more manageable and viewable when they're not cutting pieces off, and we're seeing full matches. But
Yeah.
let's get into the nitty gritty. What do you think about the Bloodline storyline going on? Roman Reigns, of course, winning the championship at WrestleMania. The next night on Raw, we had, of all people, Jacob Fatu confronting Roman Reigns. We had that storyline go through Backlash, which led to a second match between them for
With the tribal chief
tribal
match,
the tribal
tribal
warfare
combat.
match, tribal
Yeah, yeah,
combat.
tribal combat.
So
Mhm.
Roman Reigns ends up winning again in that and forcing kind of what we kind of predicted at the end of WrestleMania. We pretty much said we see Jacob getting beaten into the bloodline, not necessarily just joining outright, and that's what it's been. So on the past Monday Night Raw, we had Roman come out, do his bloodline segment, and the notable change in this version, people are trying to say, oh, they're rehashing the story and they're going back in circles. They're actually not. This bloodline is going to be about earning it together. Roman hasn't used anyone to win his matches. He's put Jay in a position where he's entered into the King of the Ring tournament and Jay is in the finals. He's put Jacob in a position where he's forced to join the stable, but on Monday, he didn't just make him fall in line. He gave him his own version of the Ulufala, basically saying
Mhm.
to Jay, like, we don't want yes men.
Falafel.
The Ufalafa, according to LA Knight. We don't want yes men in this group. So giving Jacob that nod, and over the past couple of weeks, Jacob's been sent on a mission to try to get Solo back into the fold. every week is looking like Roman is
I predicted that.
giving him the ultimatum.
The night that Jacob had to acknowledge Roman and the MFTs in the crowd, I knew that that's where this story was heading because that's just what makes sense. Honestly, this is what Roman always wanted. Roman never wanted to feud with Solo Sikoa. He always wanted the entire family to be together. So Roman is getting exactly what he wants.
And if you think about it, the reason he didn't want Solo to do what he was doing and they feuded, and he didn't acknowledge Jacob in the same way, is because he felt it wasn't Solo's time yet. Jay was being positioned to be the other end of that table. Jay on his own becomes world champion, for better or worse. He became world champion, solidified himself as a main event star, as a gimmick that, whether some fans want to shit on it or not, it's fucking over in these arenas. It's over in this merch. These kids are loving Jey Uso, regardless of the knocks on
That's just
the
internet
in-ring.
hate. That's
It is
just
internet hate.
hate. That's just
100% internet hate. But sometimes
You
the
can't
internet
argue.
hate
You can't argue with
spills into
results.
the larger conversation. So
Yeah, you can't argue with results. Look, when he goes out, that crowd pops like crazy. I don't want to hear that
which
shit.
is something that he's definitely acknowledged. Like, I still got this. I'm still main event, Jay. So like you said, bring in Solo back as a fold just makes sense. And
makes sense.
Now
It should
it's
be the
like
Samoan dynasty. It's the Samoan dynasty. They're going to take over the entire. The bloodline are going to take over the entire WWE, which is great because then you have the LA Knights, the Code. You have the Avengers have to form back again to go against the bloodline, and that can spill out into all these. We see what happened. We got a tag team main event WrestleMania from that. So mad storylines can spill out from the bloodline because again, the internet talk. Oh, the bloodline is drying up, and the bloodline is all that. It's like you're not paying attention because Roman is not operating in the same way. He put everybody beside him.
Paul Heyman was absolutely right saying that it was just the third or fourth inning. If you're really watching WWE television, the bloodline story literally has not stopped. And that was a big point that Roman said on the promo, which was something you guys should go back and watch if you haven't. He said the bloodline didn't start now. It didn't start when when Jimmy got us together or whatever the case. This goes back to Yoko. This goes back to Umaga. This goes back to Rikishi. This goes back that far. So the bloodline is not just now. Then it's not now. It's when Roman and Jacob's kids are tag teaming together. So the bloodline is forever. So with the downsizing of the MFTs, them losing Tangaloa, them losing what's the other guy's name?
JC Mateo.
JC Mateo. Fuck, I'm sad that I forgot his name. But the downsizing of that group, I think they need this shakeup right now, and it's been good TV. It's been real good TV.
Zilla and Lance.
There's rumors that they're gonna bring in Zilla.
That's what I heard too.
Yeah, so
I don't know about Lance.
We'll see what goes.
And Jordan.
Yeah, we'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes.
But yeah, Bloodline stories taking over. We had actually Roman Reigns co-star. What's this guy's name with the Afro? Eric Andre. We had him on by the ring side at the end of that segment with the bloodline, them pretty much establishing dominance, them giving the Ulufala to Jacob Fatu. Eric Andre got the balls on the walk by to try to touch the Ulufala on Jacob. That boy paid for that. Thrown over the barricade, beat up outside, thrown in the ring. Jacob was about to splash him. Roman goes, no. Shows the control he has over Jacob now. That says, now you do it. Splash Eric Andre. The crowd going crazy. They trying to hold them back. He tells them, again, makes him go in, does a splash again on Eric Andre. So somewhere Eric Andre's guts are all over the country. You know, he got squashed flat on Monday, which I heavily enjoyed. But yeah, a lot going on. A lot going on. So them segments are running from this past Monday to this last Friday night SmackDown, with Jacob continuing to try to recruit Solo back into the fold.
Right, we'll see where that goes. There was a couple of good matches. I'm glad that WWE is focusing back on their wrestling, because of the shows.
I mean,
it was
for better or worse, the King of the Ring tournament has also, really been bringing in a couple of good matches. If you look at the brackets, they started off with 4 blocks of fatal 4-ways, with Penta versus Oba versus Solo Sikoa versus Carmelo Hayes. That was actually a really good ass match. Oba showing dominance. Everybody got their spots. It wasn't a straight up squash for Oba Femi, but it was still dominant. Everyone came out looking good, even in the loss. And Oba Femi, advances. We had on the other side, we had Rey Mysterio, excuse me, Dominic Mysterio, Breaker, Trick Williams, and Priest, with Dominic Mysterio surprisingly advancing. We had Seth Rollins, Javon Evans versus Tonga, Tyler Tonga, and Ricky Saints, which I was actually surprised that they gave Javon Evans this kind of push, considering we had Tyler Tonga being a new guy, and a big guy at that, having Ricky Saints being a new person too, and in the position that they're kind of putting him in now. I was surprised they gave Javon Evans that shine, but he won that one. So he advanced.
Yeah, but people, the matches people should go out their way to see is Charlotte Flair versus Alexa Bliss. Charlotte Flair versus
I'm gonna get to that. Let's finish the brackets first. Hold up. Not to cut off your stream of thought, but the last fatal 4-way was Jey Uso, LA Knight, Royce Keys, and Finn Balor, with Jey Uso advancing. So really good fatal 4-ways for the men all around. The semifinals saw Javon Evans and Jey Uso, with this past Friday Jey Uso going over clean, no bloodline involvement, no nothing. So, like I said, this version of Bloodline earning all this shit. Jey Uso advances against Evans, and Dominic Mysterio falls this past Monday to Oba Femi. So we gotta see Oba Femi versus Jey Uso at Night of Champions.
I was kind of hoping for King Von.
Nah, that was an oversight in WWE Creative. You could tell they don't got a real pulse, because you would have been naming this guy after a serial killer, a hip hop serial killer. So before we get into the thoughts of who we think is gonna win, let's go to, like you said, to the women's side of things. And so their fatal rounds of fatal 4-ways we had.
Bro, let's get to the winners. Let's get to the winners. Let's get to the winners.
But let's not rush through it. Like, let's get hold it. Unless you got some content I'm not aware of, like, let's get through it. Let's get through it. We had their fatal 4-ways. We had Morgan, Becky Lynch, Alexa Bliss, and Chelsea Green, with Liv Morgan advancing. We had Roxanne Perez. We had Io Sky, Julia, and Lash Legend, with Io Sky advancing. That was a good match. We had the Judgment Day women had their fingerprint all over this tournament. We had Raquel Rodriguez versus Bailey versus JC Jane, which is the leader of Fatal Attraction, which I keep forgetting her name. And we had Kiana James, with Raquel advancing, which teased a possible Liv Morgan versus Raquel Rodriguez, which didn't happen because Io Sky advanced. And then the Fatal 4-way he was talking about, which was amazing, go out your way to go check, was really good. Sol Ruka versus Lyra Valkyria, Charlotte Flair, and Jade Cargill. Shout out to Jay Cargill, who lost her wig piece and still managed to give us a decent match out of it.
Still kept it going. Still kept it
And
going.
then for the semifinals, Liv Morgan and Charlotte Flair, great ass match this past Friday. Go out your way to see it. Liv Morgan advanced, but in a rare way. You normally don't ever see Charlotte Flair lose by submission, so that was pretty big. If you're big into like history and the way people win or lose, Charlotte does not lose by submission often. That's a rarity. So go out your way, go see that match.
I like Io Sky, but they missed the opportunity to wrap this Judgment Day story up by not having Raquel back well and go against Liv Morgan. That's the story that they've been teasing. They kept talking about it. They should have just. I don't know why they didn't go with that story.
Not only that, they could have did it with Roxanne Perez because they still have that. Is she loyal? Is she loyal because of Finn Balor shit? I mean, she did prove she wants to be with the group.
It's not a knock. It's not a knock. It's cool that Io Sky won, but it's just like they kept like teasing, like there was backstage conversation. Well, what if Raquel wins and it's Liv, and then Liv kind of like inverted it, and they were teasing it. I just don't know why they wouldn't go. That for me, I think for everybody, that's the more interesting story. What happens if Backwell and Liv have to go against each other? I think that's the more interesting story. Nothing against Io Sky.
I think this is one of the things where you said like they kind of played it safe because they used the women. I think the men's tournament was used in a way to showcase new people, try to get something different at the end of this tournament. Mm-hmm. And the female side was more like, well, who's Liv Morgan gonna face this month at Night of Champions to defend her title? Because in reality, she's just defending her title at the end of this tournament. What does she get? A chance to go against
be a double champion.
The WWE, right? But we know that's not going to happen. We know they're not going to pull the trigger on that because then you fill 2 spots with one person on 2 shows. It doesn't make sense. So we know Io Sky is coming out of this with the choice of choosing her championship. It's going to be Liv Morgan versus Io again at SummerSlam. That's how I see it.
It might be because Rhea's injured, so they had to change a lot of things.
Yeah, maybe. I feel like they went. I feel like they went the obvious route with them.
Yeah, I really wish they would have went. I really wish they didn't go safe. Only because they brought it up. Like, if you listen to the conversation, like they were talking about. Well, Roxanne was asking Liv, "Well, what happens if you and Raquel have to go against?" Like they were teasing it, and then they had another segment where they were asking Raquel about it. So it's just like. You bring it up for
that was definitely the better story out of this whole situation. Will they end up fighting? Right. Will the Judgment Day have to prove their loyalty to each other when they have to fight? I think that was the better story and missed opportunity.
I do think Rhea Ripley getting injured ruffled the waters. I think there was a lot of things they had to change on the fly. With the direction that they were going to go because Rhea got injured. Those kind of things, we may not see it like that, but those little things, well, it's not little, but one injury may affect 3-4 other storylines that we don't know about. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, I mean,
as much as I'm knocking them, I'm still picking them up.
On the men's side, we got Jey Uso possibly, giving the tribal chief what he wants, an opportunity of having both sides of the table have the world championships of WWE in the bloodline, because Obafemi, to most everyone, it looks like an obvious squash. It looks like Femi is going to run through this King of the Ring, but I'm going to put the Brock Lesnar factor into this match because we all know that they still have one victory each. From clashing in Paris, and WrestleMania. So they owe each other this match at SummerSlam. There's been rumor for over a year that Brock Lesnar's final match is going to actually be at SummerSlam, and then he's going into retirement, or at least the end of his contract is through SummerSlam. So I definitely can see Brock screwing Oba and giving Jay this clear path.
Listen, they need to pull the trigger. They need to pull the trigger on the Samoan Dynasty. They need to put WWE in a real play. I mean, this is me fantasy booking. Give them all the championships. Give the Samoan Dynasty, give them all the championships. You create so many stories because everybody has to come after them. And there's so many things you can spin at them. You pay-per-view. Remember when they used to do custom pay-per-views? You can have a custom bloodline pay-per-view, this and that, tag team, tour. You can do so
That's a
many
good
things
idea.
with it. Give Bloodline all the championships. Give them every single belt. And then
Yeah.
slowly have them just fall. But you can play this shit out over a year and a half.
Yeah, but imagine a fucking because that's one thing we've never had. We've never had a bloodline without infighting. From the very beginning, we've never had a bloodline without infighting. So imagine a unified bloodline that's complete across both brands. That dynasty is gonna look crazy. You're gonna force
Three brands
partnerships.
if you get Zilla.
You're gonna force partnerships. Zilla, I don't think Zilla is big enough guy at this moment to do anything on that scale. If he comes in, you fall in line under the tribal chief.
And NXT, they need some soldiers in NXT. So I would say
maybe in that, maybe a subdivision of the bloodline running NXT. That'll be fire.
Yeah.
Like Zilla, we need you
that's
here.
a big leap.
We need
that
you
would be a big leap.
We need you to tell the young talent and show them the example of when they make it here, you got to deal with us still on a larger scale. Show them our influence from the beginning of their career. That'll be awesome. I think that'll be awesome. Zilla for NXT.
That would be a large, even though, HOG, they do have, in some of their shows, they do have the hard cam, but that's a big trend. That's why a lot of people go to NXT. To go from indie shows right to the main roster, they're probably going to make them take some steps in between something. Yeah, that's a big jump because you got to learn how to wrestle for the hard. It's not even about wrestling. You can have all the ability, but you have to be able to wrestle for the hard cam. Put in commercials into it and all that stuff takes time to get used to.
Timing and experience.
Yeah, timing, experience, but those things specifically, it's like Roman Reigns. He knows exactly when to make a facial expression and at what angle and what position in the ring to get the most reaction from the people at home and the people seeing on the Titantron in the arena. That's why it's cinema. It's not just the shit he's saying in the ring. It's the body language. It's the taunting. It's everything included. And positioning on the camera is a huge part of that. If you're taunting to nobody and nobody's getting to see it, did you taunt?
Like the hard cam. Hard cam, bro. Remember they had this indie match where they just did everything so the hard cam shit was hilarious.
So let's move on from the King of the Ring stuff and the Bloodline. Let's go on to the other storylines going on in the WWE. Seth Rollins versus Braun Breaker is going to be in a cage at Night of Champions. What do you guys feel about this storyline? Finally, there's going to be no involvement of the Vision. They're banned from ringside or otherwise unavailable. With Logan Paul being injured and having that brace on his arm.
That sucks.
He's back on TV this week.
I know,
but
it just
he's not going to be in
a
real physical capacity.
It sucks because I really liked the whole Vision when it first came together. Through injuries, it really sucks that they're in the position that they're in. I think it's best to just kind of wrap this story up and separate Braun and Seth for a bit.
Yeah.
Just because things happen out of their control. The injuries and all that, the injuries killed this whole storyline. So I think wrap this storyline. I'm not sure who's going to win. Maybe Seth, but let's just separate the Vision, Seth. Let's separate.
Honestly, Braun Breaker needs to come out of here with the W. He needs it more. If you want to reestablish the stable and get out of the Seth Rollins stink of the situation, because he kind of offset the injury, the trail of injuries. The first fuck up was when Seth Rollins got injured, and they had to reestablish the Vision and then change direction. So, Braun needs it more. If he's going to be the leader of this group, and he's going to hold off until Bronson could come back and they could really be dominant, he needs this. He needs this W. with groups like um the Bloodline coming up again and newly strong, and Seth Rollins starting to pair with Street Profits, and his force, his group should be more dominant than it's been.
Yeah, it should be. It's the injuries, man. I think that they can't really help it. The injuries really killed this group. I would have loved to see the original plan if injuries hadn't happened to literally like every single member of them.
I think it would have led to probably like a Seth Rollins chokehold on the title, and then Braun Breaker eventually being that guy.
Right.
That's one thing that I do like. It moved the timeline up of Braun Breaker having to be put in that light, though. So
Yeah,
I'm glad for that.
right.
But hopefully, I agree though. Hopefully, it is the cap off, and we're done with Seth.
And a bit of a side note, in a bit of a side note, we won't be seeing Drew McIntyre for a while. He just got cast for like another movie, so we're not going to be seeing Drew McIntyre on WWE TV for a long time. Just kind of just.
At least he got other aspirations that could probably hold him down.
He's working.
Yeah, when wrestling's not an option. Moving on from the Seth stuff, we have Tiffany Stratton versus Jade Cargill. I personally like that Jade pivoted from the world title straight into the United States Championship. I feel like Tiffany needs somebody to realistically face. She's already been a world champion on the highest level. I think that division has already used up a lot of the talent, the mid-card talent, to go, vying for that belt. So this is kind of a breath of fresh air, having some real main event women putting that rub on this title. Because between the two, I think this title is suffering vision, like on impact.
Yes, they need to do the same thing they did with the men's. The United States, it needs to be an open challenge. And even if you're just getting some, I don't know why WWE don't use more local talent. Squash matches, it's okay to do some squash matches.
Not just that, Chelsea Green, it hasn't been important to me since Chelsea Green had it.
Chelsea.
Put a good talker, put a good gimmick behind the belt.
Yeah, it needs to be open challenge. That's it. Open challenge every week. Just somebody new. That open challenge just opens the door for so many things and makes it a lot more exciting. We've seen it with the men do it. Do the same copy paste with the women, like, because that belt doesn't feel like anything.
Yeah. So we got that going on, and then the final matchup that's gonna be on the Night of Champions card is the Undisputed Championship: Cody Rhodes versus Gunther versus Sami Zayn. Now, this storyline has been happening since the night after WrestleMania. The SmackDown after WrestleMania, when Gunther.
If you ask Sami Zayn, this storyline's been going on for like 2 years. It's been going on since. Remember back in remember when this feels like a lifetime ago, when it was going to be Cody versus Roman, but then Sami had to match with Roman in Canada, and everybody thought that Sami might possibly go over, but he was so over, a lot of us didn't mind if he actually did go over. Times have changed.
Yeah, that is a complete 180 for me, because I've been so sick of Sami Zayn's use on TV over the past year. Comes like the underdog crybaby gimmick. I'm done. You've been the underdog for 5 years. I'm tired of it. It's the Finn Balor syndrome. You need a new paint job. Maybe you need a shave. Like
I like this character now.
Finn Balor,
he's the last real good guy.
All they did with Finn Balor was literally let him win and let him have his original gimmick back. That's all they did, and Finn Balor already feels better. Already feels like a fresh coat of paint on him. They need to do that. They need to do that with Sami. Yeah.
See, I'm on the opposite. I like this. I like the way Sami wormed his way into it. He kind of bitched and complained about it. I like the way he bitched and complained his way into it. Made himself a referee.
I love it. Behind Cody's back into it. Golden Boy. He called Cody a golden boy his way. Meanwhile, we have Gunther here earning the challenge.
That's what I love about it. That's what I love about it. You got him bitching on every second he chance. Gunther's over here just whipping ass, earning it, and you know what I'm saying. And Sammy just wormed his way into it. I love it. I love it. I love
And
it.
then
What a
when we
good guy.
get when we get to the Cody aspect of things, Cody should have lost to Gunther in Clash in France, Clash in Paris.
Facts. And that's what I meant by playing it safe. That's what I meant by playing it safe. Cody should have won. I mean, excuse me, Gunther should have won
Gunther
because
should have
Cody
won.
can survive. Cody can survive.
Cody needs not just the I'm not easy to find, hard to beat gimmick that he's trying to do now. Like, dude, we need some real edge on Cody. We need the chase Cody. We need the hungry Cody. You're not hungry. You're just willingly accepting participants. That's it.
Right.
But
Nah, facts.
I don't think
So
Cody's
what do you wanna talk
realistically
about?
had something good to bite into since Randy
Since
Orton.
John Cena.
And
Since John Cena and Randy Orton.
but the Randy Orton failed. The Randy Orton thing
He doesn't need a
failed.
championship.
No,
Cody, it did.
No fault of them.
No.
To no
Right,
fault of
right.
their
No
own.
knocking.
It was definitely, outside interference. But we haven't had something that we sunk our teeth into since, like you said, John Cena versus Cody. The returning of a hero, the redemption story, the regaining of the championship. That was the last story with Cody that was like, yeah, it panned out really great. Since then, I've just been like, so is Drew going to win it? Is Drew going to win it? Okay, he won it. But he dropped it right back. Cody doesn't need the belt.
I don't think he needs it. He doesn't need. And this is a compliment to him that he's gotten to a place where he is a champion without the belt. He doesn't. He's a main eventer without the belt. He doesn't need the championship. Give it to Gunther. Allow him to defend it against other people. Elevate other people. But yeah, I think.
Hashtag
I love
draft
Cody.
Cody to NXT.
I think Cody he doesn't need a championship. He just doesn't need a championship. That's it. He just doesn't need it. He needs to be in a different dynamic. It's getting a little stale. Just a little bit.
So I agree. But so that's been kind of the couple of month and a half kind of overview and the rundown of the Night of Champions card. So do we have any honorable mentions from AEW side or anything you guys want to speak towards on that?
Yo, Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland had a really good promo battle on Wednesday. Swerve dropped the F-bomb. He dropped the F-bomb, and it felt like Will didn't know that was going to happen. That promo battle felt real. And honestly, I like the way they addressed a lot of things. Like, yo, bro, Death Riders fucking broke your neck. Now you riding with them? Wait, we did all this shit for Hangman. Where's Hangman at now? Like, I'm glad that they addressed those things. I was like, yo, that's a good point. Where is Hangman now? You know what I'm saying?
I would say AEW has been getting better on pulling back on the strings that they held for a while. The content has definitely been way better to view and manage. I just think they need that like spark right after the pay-per-view. I feel like they drop off after every event and they're not mentioned enough afterwards.
Yeah, definitely. AEW does do that. Like they do a hard reset after pay-per-view, and it's just sometimes it's a little jarring because it's just like, whoa, can we fit?
That's what makes everything so confusing though, because it's like you're trying to like follow something, and then next thing you know is like, oh, this person's on the other side for some reason.
Right.
And it's like kind of like when Leo Rush and Action Andretti, when did they turn on each other? If they're not friends anymore, when are they not cool?
I have no idea.
And that's a really cool story. Yo, honestly, I think Leo Rush's character is one of the most interesting things in wrestling right now. But it's not on AEW TV. I had to go out of my way to find some Ring of Honor, because they have a whole video package of it. But you wouldn't know that because they don't show it on AEW.
Strictly watching AEW TV, I have no idea why Leo Rush is acting the way he's acting, and that's a problem for me. And that's always been a problem AEW has had. They just expect people to just know who these people are, to just know why they're acting out in the way they are, and keep up with everything outside of the AEW spectrum. I'm sorry, dog. Yes, you own Ring of Honor, but you're not managing it well. You're not meshing that world with AEW well enough for us to know why Leo Rush is acting the way he is.
That part.
We barely commit to Collision because it's on a
part.
fucking Saturday, dog. Like, so
That's another thing too.
if
A
we're
lot of things
barely,
get missed on Collision.
yeah, I'm starting to catch on to shit because I'm actually committing to these rewatches, like we've been doing on Sundays, watching the wrestling we've missed during the week before these shows. But I'm not committing to a Saturday show.
It's hard, bro. That's hard to commit to a Saturday
okay.
show, man.
Once a month is okay. Every week
every
faithfully, every Saturday faithfully. No.
Bro, that's hard to do.
You know,
it's hard.
There's a lot of content. Things get old fast, especially in the wrestling world. If it happens now, the internet's fucking talking about it instantly. They're running it down by the next day, so it's irrelevant.
Right.
So know, it's hard to want to commit to a Saturday show every week and pay-per-views on top of that from the other company.
Sundays.
Yeah, that part. I mean, AEW got the Forbidden Door coming up. It's a good card.
Sunday.
Unfortunately for New Japan Pro Wrestling, they got Solo. New Japan hasn't been the same in the last couple of years. It's a good card. It just doesn't feel forbidden. I think another name should be there because it's not forbidden.
AEW open door. We got an open door policy over here. Come through, unless you CM Punk. We're not trying to fear foul lives. But yeah, it's not forbidden anymore. It might be a little bit more forbidden considering, like Focus told us earlier, that New Japan was bought by Noah and Noah's a partner with WWE. So they might be a little bit more restricted on talent. So if you want to talk about forbidden, maybe on that aspect, but how forbidden has this door been with this being the third or fourth pay-per-view?
Yeah, it's really more CMLL, really, in Stardom more than anything. If that's the case, it should just be Stardom versus CMLL versus AEW. There goes your pay-per-view right there. Forget the Forbidden Door, just company versus company versus company. There goes your.
Not forbidden anymore. The door is wide open. So it's been for a long time.
I am excited for a couple of these matches, though. I'm definitely excited for Swerve versus Will Ospreay. Kenny Omega versus Zack Sabre Jr., the Dogs versus Cope and Cage, Bandito versus Moxley. So there's going to be some fucking Maya World who surprised everybody and beat Athena on Collision, and now they're going against Mercedes Moné.
That kind of pissed me off. I felt like that was because one, every time I watch Athena or get to watch her match, she's fucking losing. When she's involved with AEW, not on the Ring of Honor spectrum, she's always fucking losing. And when I tuned into this Collision we watched earlier, she lost. Not only that makes me feel, also Mercedes Moné is just going to win. So Mercedes Moné is just going to retain the Owen Hart tournament championship 2 years in a row. That's all I saw.
Maybe not though, because me and Focus on about earlier. This would be the perfect opportunity. This would be a perfect opportunity to push a new star right to the moon. Like,
it would.
I hope they do.
When you've had Mercedes losing all her belts the past couple of months, and then she went on a hiatus for about 2-3 months, and now she just returned, and then this tournament leads directly into a Women's World Championship match that's gonna be in Wembley.
Right. You're 1,000% right.
I don't see it. I don't see it.
I agree with you. But Mercedes, they can create another way for Mercedes to get there. You're 100% right. Because it seemed like it's written for Mercedes to get there. I think they should create another route for Mercedes to get there and shoot this girl to the moon. Nobody knows her. Nobody knows her. Exactly. Have her win.
Yeah, you got to think about the marquee. You got to think about the fact that Thecla's going to need a big name to sell that match.
Make it a three-way. You make it a three-way. You make Mercedes in there and make it a three-way. Tekla versus Maya versus Mercedes.
The only way it goes above, you're ODing, and the only way I see it goes beyond a three-way is if they have a returning Tony Storm. That's the only way I see that happening. Having more than 3 women involved. Exactly.
I don't think
so. It's gonna be either Thekla versus this woman
gonna come
or Monet.
too.
Man. So
right.
with hearing somebody from the Twilight Zone, are we officially wrapping this up? Because
yeah, listen, shout out to
that's
Dr.
a story
Baker.
for a whole nother day and a whole nother episode on the savage ball dropping on Britt Baker. Shout out Britt Baker. We could do this all day. But you can find us on YouTube. You can find us on all streaming platforms at Kayfabe Avenue. Wherever you like to hear your podcast, check us out there. Join the YouTube and subscribe to the TikTok. We're on there. All of the live events we go to, everything wrestling related goes to the TikTok. So check that out. And take us home.